The New Perspective Launchpad is a new show where we speak with leading voices in the startup world and hear their stories and their challenges that they face on their path to rapid growth. With me today is Michael Oshetski, who's the founder and CEO of Micatu. Micatu provides innovative optical sensing grid technologies that help manage the chaos of today's power grid. Michael's an expert in the optics industry and is an inspiring business leader and an entrepreneur. He's also one of the smartest folks I know personally. Michael, thank you very much for spending some time with me. It's always a pleasure talking to you.
Thanks for having me today. I'm really excited to talk about my journey and hopefully inspire other entrepreneurs. So thank you.
So let's rewind the clock back to 2011 when you started the business. How did Micatu form?
Really just formed because of I think a quest for, I want to say, more. And, when I formed the company in 2011, I wanted to really have an impact as far as not only for my own personal experiences, but also have a positive impact for humanity. And, the opportunity of optical sensing kind of came around and I thought, what the hell, might as well go for it. So myself and Dr. Atul Pradhan started Micatu in 2011. It's all good companies, we kind of started in my garage and, kind of went from there. So,
has the company's purpose changed since it initially formed?
Yeah, I think we've evolved. I think we evolved from our original technology base, and mission was to really have optical temperature and vibration sensing. But 2016 timeframe, we partnered with Gridview Optical Technologies, which was a company owned by Michael Sexton. And over the last approximately 5 years, we've really focused on the utility industry around providing the most highly accurate is in voltage and current measurement for control of the grid. And that goes from the distribution to sub-transmission or transmission side. So, yeah.
It's a complex subject. We'll probably just scratch the surface of it today. But tell me about the name Micatu. It's a really interesting name. Like what led you to that?
Yeah, so Micatu is actually my first name and Atul's first name. So it's, if you took the MIC from Michael and the ATU from Atul, and you put them together, it's Micatu. And then, as a play on kind of words, the M is kind of like representing the rising sun of, opportunity. So that's why we picked the M in the middle for Micatu and, the rising sun. The idea is that, there's always opportunities. You just have to look for them. So, yeah.
It's an inspiring perspective, right?
Yeah.
Especially for all the entrepreneurs.
Yeah. Well, you got to be, right?
Yeah. You got to get through the waves.
Yep.
Let's talk about power for a minute. What do you think people need to understand about operating power plants now as opposed to the way they were historically or in the past?
I think it's just more complicated. I think there's more of a bidirectional topology to power. It's not linear like it used to be in the past, where you have your power station, transmission, sub-transmission, distribution, then to your house. I think it's more of a circular topology where you have renewable energies, you have people that are generating and consuming, you have prosumers, as we like to call them. So there's a lot of interesting challenges, and as all interesting challenges, it can create really interesting businesses and opportunity for businesses. So that's what's, I think, exciting about the status of power, at least North America. But this is also a global, I want to see evolution of the grid. It's not, people say it's a problem. I really see it as the grid's evolving to really embrace new technologies. And a lot of those technologies are newer forms of energy generation.
So it's a healthy way to look at it.
Mm-hmm.
What would you say, thinking of as you have endeavored down this path to change, to help support and evolve this change that's taking place, what would you say has been the biggest challenge in terms of marketing Micatu's Gridview platform?
Utilities are pretty risk-averse. They really have a big responsibility because, they have to keep the power on at the end of the day. So, just getting over those hurdles. And I think the other thing too is that, being a small company in a really big ocean of large companies, you have to be able to navigate those waters. So it's challenging, but I think the other hand too is technologies like mine are needed to help solve these problems. So that really helps us on the marketing because they're searching for new ways to solve very complex problems that didn't exist until we really put this together. So that's kind of the exciting part about it.
Speaking of exciting, there's some good news that just has come out. We'll have to see how it ultimately shakes. But from the Biden side, you're talking a $2 trillion infrastructure plan with money set aside for the grid and the modernization. Probably early stages here, but is that going to make a positive impact for Micatu? What do you see the impact might be for you?
I'm excited about that. I think there's a lot of opportunities for us, particularly around this infrastructure plan includes obviously a lot of integration of renewables and more complex architectures. For us, it's really exciting opportunity. So we'll see how it plays out. But yeah, I mean, anytime, investment in infrastructure, particularly on the utility side, it really helps us. And also we have our vibrational platform, which is interesting for condition monitoring of, critical infrastructure assets around transportation, rail, and, a lot more thought is going into what it takes to really deploy infrastructure, but also to maintain it. I think that's really where we add the most value.
Texas experienced a massive crisis back in February, right? Did you see, from your vantage, did you see this coming?
Yeah, yes and no. I mean, it's kind of a freak thing of nature to see that type of condition in Texas. It really goes back to the fact is that it's a difficult job that a lot of people have to do, and there's so many variables to it, and it's just one small thing can really disrupt a lot of people's lives. And I think that's why monitoring and condition monitoring is becoming more important, is the fact that, I think we understand the risk until it really happens is when you appreciate the mitigation for it. So another way I look at it.
Is there, say, a scenario in which Micatu's technology could have helped or maybe provided data to prevent the crisis that happened?
Well, I think what we could have done is, a little bit more of the distribution control of the power. I think we could have helped a lot there. I think the other thing we could have done is, this wasn't really a grid issue versus comparative just not being prepared for the weather. So, I think we could have helped on some aspects, but some aspects, the disaster is just waiting to happen, and it happened because there's, a lot of lack of winterization and just other practices that were, who knew that you needed to do it, right?
Yeah.
And so, I think we could have helped in situational awareness and the control after, but, before, not exactly sure where we would have had the most value. So.
It's a tough topic. How about the future? When you look ahead, first and foremost for the grid, what major changes do you see looming ahead for us in the near term?
I think you're going to see more prosumer-based model. I think the grid of the future is going to be very decentralized. I think the role of power plants is going to be, I'm not going to say it's going to be diminished, but it's going to be supplemented by the use of more solar energy on a residential basis, but also on a commercial/industrial basis. Also, you're going to see a lot of homes now are going to have better standards for net zero, better insulation, less power consumption, and more generation. I think the grid of the future for the vision I have is that it's really decentralized and it's a little bit more self-sustained in the manner of a residential type of level. So, less dependence on, big power suppliers. And, a very complex grid is now very regional and circular. So yeah, I'm excited for that future. I think we can get there. I think we can get to a net zero, designs for homes and really get to a carbon zero type of energy generation. I think that's all really possible. And it's going to take, 100, 150 years, but it's the next evolution of where we're going anyways, right? You really look at how the grid's evolved over time. It's something that's, was bound to happen, right? It's that you get more decentralization of generation, more, I want to say more power to the consumer. It's just basically the way it's rolling, so.
Any particular technologies on the consumer end that you're keeping your eye on that you think are going to be pretty game changing?
Cold fusion. not just meshing. That would be cool though. And cold fusion. But no, I mean, there's always stuff coming around the corner. I think the optical sensing is really going to enable some of this next generation of control schemes, but also just higher efficiencies. What we're really going to see is a game of higher efficiencies as far as solar panels. I saw that. I was reading some papers on solar panels are becoming more efficient. Also, you're going to see a total paradigm shift in wind turbines. I think there's going to go towards more of a passive wind turbine design. The blades cause a lot of issues.
Yeah.
You're going to see a lot of tidal power. You're going to see a lot of geothermal power. There's a lot of potential in the earth, and I think a lot of that's going to get tapped into. So, it's just like I said before, it's going to be a shift from centralization to decentralization and a lot of variation of power. So
creative solutions. And when you look ahead to the future for Micatu for 2021, what are you most excited about?
Really excited about our FOVIS product launch. It's really a game changer. It's like equivalent to what the grid view was, but for the industrial sensing market. It's FOVIS stands for photonic vibration sensor. It's also really is a game changer because what it is a drop-in replacement for existing vibration sensors, but it's 10x more sensitive. It's really focused around condition monitoring solution, and it really can give that operational insight of to really make decisions and understand the condition of your equipment much sooner. So I think that's going to be a game changer. Really excited to see that drop. Got some really big deployments going on with the grid view platform. Got some really cool technology coming out, really big announcemements here soon. So yeah, 2021 is going to be another great year for us. We've obviously locked in a really big investment from Wave Equity Partners out of Boston. And we have new partners, SVB, been a really great bank to work with. And, we got some other stuff in the works that there's going to be some big announcements once we put that out there. So another big year, big growth for us is what we're seeing. So
it's been really exciting working with you guys up to this point, just to watch you guys catapult. Tell me, if someone wants to get a hold of you, what's the best way for them to reach you?
LinkedIn's a great way. Just reach out to my LinkedIn account. I'd love to talk to you. Really a huge support of the entrepreneur community. I think it's a journey. People step into entrepreneurism, and it's going to be a life-changing type journey. And, it was for me. And you understand that you have to start somewhere. Apple started in the garage, everywhere. Everybody starts somewhere. So
yeah. Awesome. I did not know you had the garage story.
Yeah, pretty cool. Yeah, it was awkward too. I'm just like having zero desk space, and we got out of it eventually. We're just we're excited. We're moving to a 50,000 square foot facility this year. We're expanding, so it's going to be fun. So
yeah, I mean, how many new hires have you onboarded in the last?
I've lost count. Like around 50-ish, I think. It's been fun. So we're just really geared towards the next phase of the company, and it's an exciting journey. So
thanks for spending some time, Mike. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem. I appreciate it too. So thank you.